Hello, my name is Mary Jane Stidham, and I'm Dr. Hawk's assistant. I'm a dietetic intern at Texas Women's University, and I have a bachelor's degree in nutrition sciences. Today we'll be talking about fats. Are they bad or are they more nuanced? We'll be discussing all the good and bad about fats. Let's take a look.
So why are fats important for the body? For one, fat is how we store energy in our bodies. But beyond that, there are many other important reasons we need fat. For one, it provides insulation and protection. Did you know that the average body fat for men is 18 to 24%, and for women, it's 25 to 31%? Some of this fat is stored just under the skin. It's called subcutaneous fat. This fat insulates the body, providing padding for your hands, your feet, and more. The other fat is stored deep within the abdominal cavity. This is called visceral fat, and it provides the same cushion and insulation to our organs. Other types of fats, including cholesterol, are involved in forming the lining of the cells. Cholesterol is important for flexibility of our cells and tissues. Cholesterol is also a critical building block of many important hormones, like the stress hormone cortisol, and sex hormones testosterone and estrogen, as well as many others. Lastly, fat in the diet is important for absorbing certain fat-soluble vitamins, such as vitamins A, D, E, and K. When we're talking about dietary fat, we're referring to triglycerides. So that's what we'll be discussing today. Dietary fats, or triglycerides, are one of the three main macronutrients in our diet. Triglycerides are formed when three fatty acids, which come from the breakdown of stored or consumed fat, attach to a glycerol molecule, which is formed by our body from glucose. Triglycerides are the most common fat in the body, the main storage form of fat, as well as a significant source of energy. The fatty acids in the triglyceride molecule determine its properties, such as if the fat is solid or liquid. Fatty acids are organic molecules in which carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen molecules are connected by chemical bonds. Now this happens to be a saturated fat. Saturated fatty acids are saturated with hydrogen atoms, which means they have the maximum number of hydrogen atoms and no double bonds in their chemical structure. Because of this, saturated fatty acids are tightly packed, making them solid at room temperature. Unsaturated fatty acids, as shown here, are loosely packed because they have one or more double bonds. This is why they're called mono or polyunsaturated fats. The presence of double bonds creates a bend in the molecule, which is why they are loosely packed and generally liquid at room temperature. Trans fats, also called partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, are manufactured by a process called hydrogenation. Hydrogenation adds hydrogen to vegetable oil to convert it to solid fat at room temperature. This helps extend the shelf life of the product and makes it tastier. However, this process can make trans fats more unhealthy. Now let's talk about saturated fats. Here are some examples of dietary saturated fat. Fatty meats, such as beef, lamb, pork, poultry with skin, beef fat, and lard. Full-fat dairy foods like cream, cheese, butter, ice cream, whole and reduced fat milk, coconut palm oil, cocoa butter, and many baked and fried goods. Saturated fats increase blood levels of LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol, the ones that can block your arteries and give you heart attacks and strokes. Previously, it was thought that if we lower our intake of saturated fat in our diet, that would be good for our health. We now know that this is not necessarily true. Why is that? Well, for one, saturated fat in the diet not only increases LDL cholesterol, but also the good cholesterol known as HDL. When we lower saturated fats, we tend to make up for it by increasing our intake of refined carbohydrates, which over time can actually increase our risk of diabetes and heart disease. To protect the heart, it's better to replace saturated fats with unsaturated fats rather than carbohydrates. One of the most common sources of saturated fat is whole milk. You can see here that the amount of saturated fat can be reduced by 2 grams by making the easy switch to 2% milk, and even further reduced to no saturated fat in skim milk. Another common source of saturated fat is eggs. As you can see, if you were to consume egg whites instead of a whole egg, fat can go down from 4.5 grams to 0 grams. Also, the protein content of egg whites is higher as well. Now let's look at unsaturated fats, or the good fats. Monounsaturated fats, remember the ones with one double bond, can help reduce the bad cholesterol called LDL and increase HDL, or the good cholesterol. Here are some dietary sources of monounsaturated fats. These include vegetable oils such as olive, canola, peanut oil, sunflower oil, and sesame oil, as well as some food sources such as avocados, peanut butter, and nuts and seeds. Polyunsaturated fats have fatty acids with 2 or more double bonds. Depending on the position of the first double bond, which is either the third or the sixth, they're called omega-3 or omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids decrease blood levels of LDL cholesterol and triglycerides while maintaining or increasing HDL. These are considered the healthy or beneficial fats. Some dietary sources of omega-3s include fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, herring, and trout, as well as fish oil capsules, flaxseed and chia seeds, avocado, and eggs. The other type of polyunsaturated fats are omega-6 fats. Omega-6 fatty acids are usually contained in plant-based foods. They're generally considered beneficial, but some studies have suggested that if the diet has a lot of omega-6 fatty acids and not enough omega-3s, a ratio of greater than 4:1, the diet may increase inflammation and may not actually be good for the heart or your circulation. Omega-6 fatty acids decrease blood levels of LDL cholesterol, but they also lower HDL slightly. Some dietary sources of omega-6 polyunsaturated fats include vegetable oils such as soybean oil, corn oil, and safflower oil, some nuts and seeds or their oils such as palm and sunflower oil, and more. Omega-6 fatty acids are generally thought to be healthy, but not as healthy as omega-3s or monounsaturated fats. Perhaps the most dangerous fat is trans fats. As discussed earlier, these are created in a process that adds hydrogen to liquid vegetable oils to make them more solid. Because of this, trans fats are also known as partially hydrogenated oils. Dietary sources of trans fats, or partially hydrogenated oils, include stick margarine and sub-tub margarine. Other sources include fried foods like fries and donuts, chips, baked goods including pastries, pie crusts, biscuits, pizza dough, cookies, and crackers. Trans fats can raise your bad cholesterol, known as LDL, and lower your good cholesterol, or HDL. Eating these increases your risk of developing heart disease and is also associated with a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Because of this, trans fats should be avoided as much as possible. Here's a useful example of how to determine fat content as well as the type of fat present in food items. If you can learn to look at nutrition labels, you'll be able to choose nutritious food items while minimizing the food that's non-optimal for your health. In this example, 9 out of 14 grams of the fat per serving size is saturated fat. This is quite high. Try to choose items that have a higher percentage of monounsaturated or polyunsaturated fat. Current guidelines suggest that the total fat should be limited to 20 to 35% of your daily calories. Saturated fats should not be more than 10% of those calories. Other experts suggest that rather than restricting the fat content of the diet, more attention should be paid to the type of fats we consume.
In conclusion, fats are an important macronutrient in our diet. They provide energy and help us store energy in the body, as well as form building blocks for cell membranes and hormones. While they're very filling and tasty, they're also high in calories. So if you're working to manage your weight, make sure you eat them in moderation and choose the right types of fats. We hope this video was helpful for you in determining how much and what kind of fats to choose. Thank you and good luck.
This video is for informational purposes only, and it's not intended to serve as a substitute for consultation and medical treatment. Please contact your healthcare provider about any question pertaining to your specific condition. They will be able to provide you with answers and accommodations that are specific and accurate for you. Thank you.